Hey sports fans, when it comes to sports, or well, just life in general, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree as the saying goes, meaning the children usually possess similar qualities to their parents, but in the sports world, that old adage couldn't be further from the truth, at least when it comes to sports abilities. Supreme athletes like Michael Jordan and Joe Montana have children, and the world automatically thinks these second-generation athletes are going to be, well, the next Michael Jordan or Joe Montana, but instead that apple that we hoped that would be close to the same tree as their dad gets thrown far from it, and the children end up having careers that never got off the ground like Marcus Jordan and Nate Montana. But sometimes, however, with the likes of second-generation stars like Steph Curry, Ken Griffey Jr., Patrick Mahomes, and the Manning brothers, Peyton and Eli, end up outshining their famous athlete parents and becoming the athlete we all hoped for. Today we're going to take a look at the three sons of two sports superstar Dion Sanders and see how good they actually are, and investigate whether or not they have a chance to meet or exceed their father's greatness. But before we get into all of that, do me a favor and click that subscribe button for me so you can stay up to date on all of our content. All done? Alright, on to our video. Let's get one thing clear. Before Dion Primetime Sanders, there was nothing close to being like him when it came to sports, from his family or otherwise. In college, he shined in three sports, playing football, baseball, and track. And his best sport, football, his status reached legendary levels, the likes of which is extremely rare on the collegiate stage. As a pro, unlike most college legends, Sanders only grew once he stepped into the NFL, as he became the most dangerous kick returner in the league as well as the most feared cover corner ever, consistently locking down the team's top wideout and essentially erasing anyone he was lined up against. If you have a conversation about cornerbacks, it usually starts and ends with Dion Sanders. Although he first scorched the league as an Atlanta Falcon, he was an instant impact as a San Francisco 49er and Dallas Cowboy that probably best shows how good Sanders truly was. His arrival on both teams immediately turned them into Super Bowl contenders and champions, something that is almost unheard of for a defensive player. While it's tough to say that it was Sanders alone that made these teams super, his pivotal role as each team's shutdown ace can't be understated. And then there's also the fact that the 49ers just happened to end their 5-year Super Bowl drought when Sanders came over to the Bay, and during the next year's playoffs without Sanders, the team had a difficult time containing Robert Brooks of the Green Bay Packers during their divisional round exit. And then there was the fact that Sanders was instrumental in helping the Cowboys beat the same Brett Favre Packers in the conference championship, and was also a pivotal piece in helping the Cowboys get past the Steelers and hoist his second Lombardi trophy in 2 years. That is the stuff that Hollywood movies are made out of, and in NFL history, it's hard to think of another player that shined brighter than primetime when the lights and cameras were on him while on the biggest stage. So, to say that any of his three sons could shine brighter than their dad is asking quite a lot, as nobody has come close to what Dion Sanders has meant to the league since he retired in 2005. As unlikely as it may be, it doesn't mean that it can't happen, and for the sake of discussion, we're going to dive into the likelihood of any of Dion's sons that followed him into sports coming out as successful as their father. Of the three football-playing sons, let's start with the oldest and namesake Dion Sanders Jr. Dion Jr. decided to play football like his Hall of Fame father and spent his high school playing days playing cornerback, wide receiver, and a little quarterback. Sanders was only a 2-star recruit out of high school, and with his college prospects limited, he decided to commit to wide receiver in order to get more playing time at the collegiate level. Unlike his father, who stood 6'1" tall, Sanders Jr. wasn't an ideal height for a wide receiver at just 5'7", and also unlike his father, who was blessed with blistering speed, Sanders Jr. checked in at around 4.6-second 40-yard dash, so it wasn't like he was running away from many people either. In his 3 years at SMU, Dion Jr. was a far cry from his father and didn't get the production or playing time one needs to succeed at that level, and didn't return for his senior season for undisclosed reasons in 2013. Although his father complained about his son's playing time at SMU, it never earned Dion Jr. more playing time, and many speculate his premature end to his football career was a mutual parting. With his playing days over, Sanders Jr. has focused on entrepreneurship and heads a clothing brand. Next, we have Shiloh Sanders, the middle son of football great Dion Sanders, who was a 3-star recruit out of high school and closer to his father's height at 6 feet tall, but like his older brother Dion Jr., was nowhere near his father's world-class athleticism, checking in at a respectable 4.54 40-yard dash. Like Dad, a cornerback at high school that plays corner, and a safety in college at the University of Southern Carolina. Shiloh has shown improvement over his college career, only appearing in 4 games during his first year and 9 games in the past season, recording 32 tackles, which was good enough for 7th on the team, recording a tackle for a loss and 0 interceptions. Shiloh has since transferred to Jackson State to play for his father. It remains to be seen what Shiloh could be as a professional if he could ever make it to that level, but there's still hope for him to reach at least another level in his game now that he's been playing for his dad. Shiloh has shown that he can be a solid contributor to a defense, and although he's not a standout, he still has room to grow, and if he can make it to the NFL, this upcoming season will be a determining factor because as it stands, he isn't projected as an NFL draft pick. And last but certainly not least, we have Shiloh Sanders, the youngest of the football-playing Sanders clan. The number 60 overall recruit in the 2021 class, Shiloh was head and shoulders above his brothers as far as high school accomplishments and promise. At 6'2" and 200 pounds, Sanders is a 4-star recruit with 2 state championships under his belt. A dual threat with a big arm and a ton of savvy for a high school quarterback, Shiloh had scouts and programs salivating at him as a prospect. He had originally committed to FAU before decommitting to join his brother and father at Jackson State. Speaking of his father, it pays dividends to be the son of a legend, and in June of 2020, Shiloh got to train with none other than the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, at a workout he was holding in Florida. Tom helped the young Sanders on fundamentals and gave him a wealth of knowledge to soak up. Brady spent a couple of hours with them, which Sanders and his father were both grateful for. Shiloh took to Instagram to humbly brag about the encounter, and Tom even commented on his post saying, "You will determine what your future holds. I'm always here for you." Dion also posted on Instagram talking about how thankful he was to Tom and the opportunity for his son to learn from the legend himself. Shiloh certainly has the talent and the necessary tools to succeed at the next level, and it will be interesting to see what the freshman can do this year as a college athlete under his father's wing. Like his father, Shiloh has a swagger to him and resembles someone who's trying to be the best in every room of athletes he's in, and like his father, he has the size and physical tools to succeed. Whether or not he ends up matching or eclipsing his father remains to be seen, but even if he never reaches the level of dear old dad, one thing's for sure, he has a chance to step out from under Dion's shadow as a quarterback at the collegiate level, and if the next few years go well, perhaps we could revisit this conversation and see if the younger Sanders is on his way to chasing the legend of the older Sanders. Alright, sports fans, that does it for our time on the sons of Dion Sanders and our evaluation on how good they are and whether or not they have a chance to be anywhere as good as their old man. Let us know what you think by dropping a comment, and as always, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor and click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of our content and more videos like this. Until next time, sports fans.